Hi, I'm Mike Ferrantino, marketing stooge for Santa Cruz Bicycles. We're here at Dirt Demo in Bootleg Canyon. Had several product revisions over the course of the last year that we're going to talk to you about today. We're going to start with our most recent one that hasn't been released yet. Will be on the market at the end of the year. The revised Santa Cruz jackalv, our dirt jumping bike. Things we've done in terms of change of the bike. The old jackalv had this humped top tube, formed top to it that gave it a very distinctive look and kind of tied it in with some other bikes in there. The whole form follows function thing comes to light in this. Looked cool, rode okay. Unfortunately, for dirt jumpers, people who are getting really serious about what they're doing, the hump presented a problem when it came to like switching your feet when you're doing a lot of aerial maneuvers. It got on people's shit list. So, we've redone the bike. The hump is gone. We shortened the chainstays up. They went from a 15.8-inch chainstay down to a 15.2-inch chainstay. We've got a super trick new adjustable rear dropout that you've got to take a look at here. Essentially, it's a vertical dropout, but it has an 1.25 inch or 4 aft movement. The movement is controlled by grub screws, holds the entire thing in place. You can align it perfectly. You can run it as a single speed. You can run it with a derailleur. It doesn't matter. It's not going to go anywhere, no matter how hard you land, how hard you case it. It's a very unique thing. Hump is gone. The bike is stronger than it was before. The bike is also significantly lighter. It went from 6.5 pounds frame weight down to 4.9 pound frame weight. When it comes to throwing a bike around in the air, that actually does count and it matters a bunch. The entire bike can be built up a lot lighter than it used to be. At the same time, it's more functional. Nothing gets in the way as much. Mixed reviews in terms of how that's going to work. Some people think that it doesn't look quite as cool as the old one or as distinctive as the old one. Now it just looks like a dirt jump bike. That's what it is. It's a dirt jump bike. Jamie Goldman, Kurt Voorhees collaborated extensively on the build of this thing, the design of it, and this is the bike that they want. They're some of the leading dirt jumpers in the world, and we want to make what they need to get the job done. That's the jackalv. Talk about the V10, which is our preeminent flagship downhill bike, and let's talk about the fact that this bike, with its rider Greg Menard, won the UCI Downhill World Cup. They won the World Cup based on consistency. World Cup, 7 races, goes through 3 continents. The level of competition that is working in the downhill circuit right now is through the roof. The riders have been progressing over the last several years from the time like Nicolas Vuillot to now. It's a whole quantum leap beyond what downhilling used to be, and downhilling itself has been evolving at this massive rate. Right now you've got phenomenal athletes who are riding these courses at speeds that most of us will never even be able to comprehend. The way to win a World Cup, aside from being the fastest person, is to be consistently the fastest person, or to try to beat all these other really fast people on a regular basis. Greg Menard was on every single downhill podium this year. Also won 2 of the events. His teammate Steve Peat finished 4th overall in the World Cup, was on every single downhill podium but 1. That put us, Santa Cruz, in the team trophy at the end of the year because Josh Bryceland as a junior also decimated the junior ranks. Had the actual junior title sewn up before managing to bust his collarbone. Sat out the last 2 races of the season, still won the juniors overall. Aside from 2 Santa Cruzes being on just about every podium but 1 this year, VPP bikes were 5 of the top 10 overall places in the World Cup. It's a suspension design that has pretty much made its statement about its effectiveness as a downhill circuit weapon. Gets us onto the bike then. This bike we got here is Mr. Menard's personal ride from the season. It's not vaporware, it's not some prototype, it's not specially made for a tall, lanky South African who talks funny. It is a V10. It's a large V10, it's the same V10 that someone could walk into a store and buy. Not that difficult to do. 254 millimeters of rear travel, VPP suspension, has a lot of variability in how the shock rate can be configured. In this instance, runs probably 3 inches of sag, sits in nice, has beautiful pedaling at that point, and at the same time, still almost a bottomless suspension feel to it. The revision we did a year ago on the V10 has left this bike frame looks very similar to the V10 that preceded it. However, it is almost 2 pounds lighter than the old one, which is part of an emerging trend in downhilling, or not an emerging trend, but an evolving trend in that bikes are progressively getting lighter. The whole idea of a 50-pound downhill sled is sort of 1998 logic. It's 10 years later now, and these guys are going really fast, and they're really fit, and they need bikes that not only can suck up a massive amount of hit and be stable at speed, they also need bikes that they can flick around and move. Nowadays, you want to have your bike under 40 pounds if you want a chance at winning. It's hard order when you've got 10 inches of suspension to deal with as well. That's dirt bike suspension. So, Menards ride, boxer fork on the front, black box internals, RockShox Vivid rear, black box internals in that as well, 254 millimeters in the front. What's the back? 8 inches, what is that, 200 millimeters-ish, maybe thereabouts?
So,
but otherwise, you could go and buy this thing.